Okay, so everybody knows that power has gotten more expensive, but in my case, on my homestead, consumption, power consumption, somewhere we're losing power. I believe that we're losing power. We've doubled the amount of consumption on the homestead that we're utilizing. So what I'm trying to do is, I have several buildings on the homestead. Oh, I don't know how many, quite a few different buildings, but I'm going to put a meter on the box behind me to try and rationalize if I have an appliance, a freezer, a refrigerator, a well pump, some heat source in one of the buildings that's running constantly or 100% of the time. And the way that I've rationalized to fix that is put a meter virtually on several buildings to see if consumption has increased a considerable amount. And the first one I'm going to start out with is, I'm in the garage, my garage wood shop, and I'm trying to get a meter on there, and we'll go over the meter, or establishing the meter in that box here in just short order. But before I do that, you can see this is a different project I have going on that's been waiting for quite a long time, and I'm trying to get this mucked out enough that I can actually get to that box. So I'm going to work on that for just a minute, and then we'll get into that box, and we'll go over safety inside that box. Because in my case, main panels, meter base main panels, are all in a different location. And on every building I own, comes out of a meter, goes into a main meter box with a main breaker, feeds sub panels. So if you were going into this sub panel thinking that once you throw the breaker off of this sub panel, you're isolated from power, you are not. And we'll go over that here later on in the video. Okay, so I got the breaker panel off, and if you're still here, thank you. Now remember, I'm not an electrician. You need to research how you do it, but this is how I normally do it. Got a tester. I probably had this tester for 30 years. Yeah, there's a lot better testers out there, but this is how I do it. Okay, so I got main power, main common, ground. If you turn this breaker off right here, it isolates everything below this. Now remember, I've got a monkey with this one and this one. I got to put a clip right here and a clip right here, which I'll show you in a minute. So even though I turn this off, this upper portion of this box, get the light where you can see it. It's got a light indicator, it's got a little toggle, and it vibrates. See how I got power there? Okay, so I always test power. I'm going to go turn the main breaker off. Remember, I got a main breaker. This is a sub breaker. It's getting fed by a different breaker. Everything comes into the house through a meter on the property, not the house. On the property, main power comes in, goes through a meter, goes to a 400 amp main breaker, and then feeds off into sub panels. Now on this one, I don't know how educated you are on it, but this is the fourth wire rule. This is the fourth wire rule right here, this piece into this ground. It's got a double ground in it. It's got a ground just outside. It actually has a double ground just outside. Every building's got a double ground. I have a very good ground grid. Has a double ground external, and then you got to carry a fourth wire, and this fourth wire actually goes back on every building, goes back to the main panel, and the main panel has a double ground rod in the ground also. So let me go shut that breaker off. We're going to lose lights, and then I got to explain. I don't know how rapidly I'll move through it, but I'll try and explain so I can get the lights back on. Give me just a minute. Okay, we're assuming power is off, but let's verify that 100%. Okay, I got no power. Okay, so then I'm going to put the clips on. I know I need a clip here, and the clips actually, they feed into a main module, and the main module is Bluetooth, so we can read it, and we don't have to come to the garage every time. Okay, so let me work on that real quick. Okay, so I know that the most important part is main feed in. And I just got the pigtail sticking out, and I need to clip this on here. Try to anyway. Okay, let's try this one first. Okay, then I want to take this wire. I want to spin it a little bit. Actually, I need to spin it enough that the box will shut. Or the lid, so I can put the lid back on. And then I'm going to run it behind this. And then I'm going to just leave it long. I don't really like the way that's sitting that way. Okay, I like that better. Okay, let me get it up. And actually this one I'm going to put down here. Because just as long as I tag into the wire, I don't care where it sits at. Clip it and leave it long. That's the main feed, okay. Okay, I need another one on a different application. And let's see if I can find that wire. A convenient place to put that wire. Okay, that one. Okay. Now I got a refrigerator. This is actually the well pump. This breaker is the well pump. That's why I put that on there. And we're not sure that the well pump's not running all the time. And if you know anything about power, you're going to go with, well, that's a 110. That's a 110 breaker. How do you have a well pump on a 110 breaker? And when we started out this homestead, we ran a 110 because we ran the well pump on a generator, and our generator worked better on a 110. So we put the pump in the ground on a 110. Now we have 220. We have a pump here and a 220 in case it ever fails. But that's been 21 years ago, and the friggin' pump just keeps running. So anyway, yes, we have a 110 well pump. Out here in a little bit. Okay, I got to put a breaker in. Well, let's work on that. Okay, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but see how every one of these breakers currently has some application. It's doing some job out in the world. So I needed to add a breaker because the monitor that we bought, some you can buy, you can plug them in. They just plug in. Some have their own breaker, and they're self-contained. I'm hoping to get this put together and then put the cover back on it and then don't worry about it again. So we bought the one that was fed off of a breaker. All my breakers are currently attached. I need another breaker on the system in order to feed the power to this monitor, and then I need to run a Bluetooth antenna out this so that we can read it off a computer or laptop or whatever you want to do. So let's see if we can get a breaker in there before I turn the power back on. Okay, breaker's on. Let's turn the breaker off. Okay, that's set. Okay, so now I got to go. I don't know if I want to turn the breaker back on yet or not, but that's what it looks like. I've got main feed, main power coming in, monitor. I've got well pump, because I don't know that the well pump's not cycling all the time. Well pump hooked up, so I'm going to hook that up right now, and then I'm going to pull this through, and then I'm going to tuck this wire. Well, this wire, and then I got to figure out where I can actually put this damn thing at. I'll work on that in just a minute. Okay, Okay, so power is still off. This is the sending unit. That's the sending unit. So I'm going to plug some of these in and start working on that. I kind of got a location where I want it to be. So I'm going to try and clip these in here. Oh, cat. Okay, they just clip in the tail end of, actually it's the head end because the antenna's right there. And I got to get the wire harness for it. Power for it, which is kind of a rinky-dink setup a little bit, but that's okay. Power's hooked in. Okay, remember main power's still off. And I want it to sit like right there, okay? So let's get some of this stuff out of the way a little bit. I might have to go get zip ties. I'm gonna clean that up a little bit and maybe put a zip tie in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and hook up the power for this thing. And I'm gonna show you the antenna. Okay, thread's in there. I think that'll be fine. Tucks up in there. Antenna going to come out somewhere over here on the face of the box, which I got to drill a hole and get this grommet. The reason I'm not hooking it up because I got to get this grommet, and the antenna may turn it down. I don't know, but this grommet, if I got a drill big enough to drill through the cover for this piece, but give me just a second. Okay, made a run for some zip ties, and I'm just going to zip tie some of this together a little bit. I'm hoping you can see it. Zip tie this on here, and then I'll cut them once I get some of this cleaned up a little bit. Okay, I know it's going to go. I got to keep feeding it a little bit. I know it's going to go up here. Okay, that's there. Black. Now black, I don't have a. I might tuck it a little bit, but remember it's got a. I'm going to zip tie that together probably. Black's got to go into that new breaker. Black's got to go in that new breaker. It's power, and then they kind of got it going. Either one of these can be your ground, and ground probably go there, but this one here, I'm going to kind of get out of the way for now. Okay, power's back on. I just took a pyramid bid. Let me see if I can